If you live north of Prague, you need to be seeking shelter immediately with these storms as they move on through. Not only do they have the history of producing a very large and significant tornado, but they have also produced some very large hail. And again, these are moving up to the northeast. This will likely take a path that is very similar to that of the Turner Turnpike. This is going to be a circulation right here. Again, we're seeing this now east of Highway 377 here. This is the community of Arlington. So we're looking right here. This is going to be, again, the main area of circulation with these storms moving up to the northeast. The damage coming in with these pictures, with these storms, continues to be pretty substantial there. It looks like quite a bit of damage coming in from these. And Sky 5 has a shot right now. Looking at Sky 5 right now, you can see some significant damage right along the highway. Paul, Jess?
That's right, Damon. You can see this from Sky 5. We were just talking to Trooper Betsy Randolph a moment ago, and this is the damage that she's been talking about.
This is I-40 near Highway 177. It's the first Shawnee exit, and you can see here that semi on its side. Significant damage here, at least 10 vehicles from what we understand from OHP when this tornado crossed these two roadways.
And look down just below that semi. There's another semi just off the roadway, and it is just into pieces right there. Look at that.
Right now, I-40 is shut down in both directions. Yeah, you can see just a mangled mess. No word on injuries in this area. We asked OHP about that, and they were not able to give us any confirmation on injuries. But, man, that has to be bad when a semi is blown over like that.
And just into pieces. And Jessica, I think you may have mentioned this. This is if you're going eastbound, this is that first exit that you come to in Shawnee is where we're talking about. But you can see there's nobody getting through this area. They've got all the roads shut down in both directions right there, so traffic is going to be just a mess and a nightmare. If you've got anybody headed over there, just tell them to figure out another way to get around that area.
Sky 5 is also going to be heading over to the Bethel Acres area. We're hearing of significant damage there as well to homes. So we're working on getting you the latest pictures and information, working the phones back here as well to get any confirmation on injuries. But Sky 5 really tells the story when you see semis blown over to the side like that, and cars as well.
Yeah, and Damon, you've been looking at this, and it looks like the storm has kind of passed over that way. But Rusty, I know you're also looking at this as well, and there's been really some big wind go through that area.
Absolutely, guys. We tracked the tornado going right over I-40 at 177. When it went over, I was picking up winds of around 150 miles an hour. That might have not been what actually crossed I-40 as far as at the surface, but when you see that damage and when you see those semis flipped about like matchbox cars, you get an idea of the kind of destruction. This is why we were so serious about this storm, and the damage path that it has taken has just been tremendous. This is going to be a high-end tornado, EF3, EF4, maybe even higher. I'm still tracking that circulation right now. It is moving into Creek County. I can tell you that since Paul and Jess were talking, I've gotten a couple more reports of brief tornadoes that did touch down across 377 between the Arlington and Prague areas. That circulation is still strong. It is moving into northwest sides of Okfuskee County right now, so it is getting out of Lincoln County, but I would imagine there would be some damage to the west and north of Prague out of this, but obviously this is a very destructive situation, guys. So that is still an ongoing storm. That is still the strongest circulation that we see right now. There is another circulation towards I-40. That one has not nearly been as strong. This appendage has been on the southern end of this supercell for the last hour or so, and it just really hasn't kind of been able to get its act going, and that's just fine by me. That is tracking right across I-40 as we speak. It's just east of Johnson, and again, 177, where all of this damage is just to the west of it right there. So this storm is east of that area. Luckily, they will stay rain-free, but continuing to track this storm. Currently, there still is a tornado warning on it. It will expire for Lincoln County at 7:30, and it will still be in effect for portions of both Creek and Okfuskee counties. I'll check it again here, but I believe it goes until either 8 or 8:30. It's going to be 8 o'clock there. So you're looking at that damage, Damon, as we bring back in Chief Meteorologist Damon Lane. And unfortunately, these long-track tornadoes, Damon, this is going to be widespread damage.
We're going to see damage for miles and miles and miles, and it looks like what we're going to do here with this tornado warning for eastern Lincoln County is that we are going to replace a tornado warning with a severe thunderstorm warning for Lincoln County. Now, the tornado warning will still remain for Okfuskee County there, but when you look at this damage right there, and the way that we rate the damage with tornadoes is the enhanced Fujita scale is all a measurement on damage. So we're able to see how much damage there is based on, or how strong the winds are based on the damage. All sorts of buildings have different building codes. So we will have to go out, National Weather Service will go out, and they will assess this damage here. But when I see these pictures that are coming in right now from Sky 5, it is considerable, absolutely considerable. If we can go back over to Sky 5 so we can show the amount of damage that I'm talking about here. On the side of your screen there, I mean, that house is unrecognizable. I see one or two walls being built within there. You see that the wood, you can see the 2x4s just thrown all over the place there. So we're going to get an idea, but just briefly looking at this from the air, I mean, that is a very strong tornado, and this type of damage looks a lot like the damage that we had that came in through Granbury, Texas, just a couple days ago. So this has certainly been a very significant tornado, and it's always amazing to me when you look at these shots here about how you can see one house that is just completely damaged, and then the house right next to it looks like it wasn't even touched. It's amazing how tornadoes can do that, but that is how tight the wind is within this, and that can happen. Look at those cars there. They're just kind of all thrown up against each other right there, and you see that right there, that house lost its roof on the right-hand side of your screen there. So that is some significant damage, and once again, you pray that everyone made it through the storm just fine here. But yeah, once again, I mean, you see that damage right there, and of course that is certainly phenomenal damage there. But look at this, the damage to this house, and then you see that house right there, and there's hardly any damage, if any at all. You see that house right there, it doesn't look like any damage, but then the house right across the street had its roof completely just torn off there. You can see the wood just thrown all across the entire yard there. So that is certainly, the power of Mother Nature always impresses me. And of course, today has been one of those days where you just look at this footage and you just can't help but imagine what it was like for the people that had to experience and go through that tornado. And you hope that you never have to see that ever again. But still, nonetheless, we continue to track this very dangerous afternoon. And again, most of the storm activity is now moving out of Lincoln County, out of Pottawatomie County, and is now moving into Creek County and moving into Okfuskee County. There's still a tornado warning, but the severe thunderstorm warning is replacing the tornado warning for Lincoln County. Rusty.
Well, Damon, I think it's time that, there's a lot of folks still viewing us in Oklahoma City right now, and obviously, we're glad that they are. But if we set the scene up for the rest of the evening, and you can chime in on this too, Damon, what we thought was going to happen has played out pretty closely. We thought these storms would go up as supercells along the dry line. They would be isolated in nature, but they'd be very damaging. Now, the tornado watch continues until 11 o'clock tonight, but more than likely, storms will stay east of I-35 for the remainder of the evening. There may be a couple that creep in across northern Oklahoma. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for K County right now. I want you to keep a real close eye on our coverage for the next hour or two, but it looks like most of these supercells will continue to track to the northeast, and redevelopment behind that is not very likely right now. It's just kind of the setup that we've had. So if you're viewing us in Oklahoma City and you're worried about another tornado going through, we think that possibility is very low right now, but especially until we hit sunset. I don't want to call off the dogs as far as that goes, but the way that the day has played out, it seems like that's going to be the case for most of our viewing area. And we had mentioned, the potential 1 or 2 strong tornadoes. That's exactly what we've seen. And I believe now our coverage, while we continue to watch these storms moving up to the northeast, storms that are just north of Ponca City that are making their way in the K County, those are severe. That is a severe thunderstorm warning, and that is going to be for half-dollar size hail and damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. So those of us that are in Blackwell, Tonkawa, Newkirk, Bremen, as you make your way in the Peckham there, you are going to be experiencing a severe thunderstorm, but again with half-dollar size hail and damaging winds of 60 miles per hour. We're going to continue to watch this storm very closely because this is still in an environment that is still favorable for tornadic development. But once the storm moves into Kansas, we will shift our coverage into damage coverage there, and we're going to be into tracking the damage side of this. But we continue to still have severe storms that are within the KOCO viewing area.
and so we're going to continue to watch them very closely. Again, you have this storm right here that is racing off into the Tulsa area here. So this is now east of Chandler. This is moving into Creek County. This is going to be the Turner Turnpike, I-44. You can see Okfuskee County here. This is now moving into Prague right there. And again, that storm does have a tornado warning as it moves into Okfuskee County there. Again, the tornado warning is not for Pottawatomie County there, but we still are depicting some very large hail within this, probably going to be in the range of about walnut or ping pong ball size hail, and maybe as large as golf ball size hail. These storms racing off to the northeast at speeds of about 20 to 30 miles per hour, moving away from Oklahoma City. And again, the severe weather risk is quickly diminishing for the Oklahoma City metro, but it will be increasing for those within the Tulsa area there. So we still have rotation within this storm. You can see the red and the green there. It is certainly there on the right-hand side of your television screen. You see the damage that was associated with this tornado warning, again, as it is moving into Okfuskee County. Paul, Jess, over to you.
Very much. I do want to take you back to a big shot of Sky 5 right now and look at that mobile home damage right there. Just look at this. This is near Highway 102 in Independence. This was a mobile home park, and you can just see the devastation that has happened right here. We're working to get all the reports of injuries from this situation, but just look, home after home, and this looks like it was a fairly large mobile home park right here. You can see it's a couple of little blocks right here that different folks were living in this area, but there, I see from this, I see it looks perhaps maybe just one of those mobile homes that are left. Everything else just destroyed in that area right there. And these storms always just leave such debris. It looks like everything's just been put in a blender when you get up and close on these things. We've got crews there on the ground. Once again, this is in the Shawnee area near Highway 102 and Independence is where we are talking about. And there's just nothing left of these mobile homes, Jessica.
It is just, I mean, you're just in shock when you see these pictures from Sky 5, debris everywhere. You can't help but think, where were the people? Were they seeking shelter somewhere else? Because these mobile homes were just destroyed. Yeah. I mean, mutilated. There's, I mean, nothing left of a home that you can see right now from Sky 5. You see the fire crews there, the emergency crews who are on the scene, some people there. No word yet if, you know, they're trying to find people who may be trapped. We're still trying to get some information back here. We've been calling Pottawatomie County, and every time we call, I mean, they're so busy, they're inundated with phone calls because they're in an emergency situation right now. So no word right now on injuries or any fatalities at this point. But again, this is Highway 102 and Independence there in Pottawatomie County, and the debris piles just stretch on and on from Sky 5.
You saw there that was an automobile just turned upside down in all of that debris. And as they go through all of this, you know, certainly they probably do have to be very careful as they look for any survivors that might be trapped in that rubble right there. And you can just see that looks like another automobile, maybe a truck or something. Nothing left of that mobile home. And, you know, oftentimes I've heard people talk about even when they live in the area, they come out after the storm has passed, and they can't figure out where they are because there's just nothing left. No familiar sights, no familiar landmarks. It's all just a mess.
If you are thrown from a mobile home like that and you're surrounded by debris in one of those debris piles, you can imagine that you are just disoriented. Right now, again, we have a crew that's headed to the scene, so we can get on the ground there and talk to emergency crews there, perhaps talk to some residents of that area, but it just almost makes you sick to your stomach to see footage like this of the damage after that tornado that came through.
And look at how widespread it is. It's not just one little area. This looks like the entire mobile home park has been taken out. I mean, through all this, I've seen maybe two